a tribute to General KAITO SUKHEI 1933–1968 contributed by Keito Sukhei. Naihosh Village, DC Hill East Zunhaboto. Amid the countless of heroes, in the legends of Naga freedom struggle was a young leader, who stood on the shoulders of the giants and seen further than we have seen, who walked 1,000 miles further than we have meandered, who in the recent past gave up the lot of himself and stood for the better of tomorrow. I never met him in self, as I was born decades after his death, but back in the year of my school days until today, his feats and deeds were a feast to my ears, so in pursuit of his past, I met most of his peers and dears and knew the best of him. There's no wreath or dirge to accompany him today, however, this is how I will remember him. The phrase, both heroic and genius, was bandied along well with instant bring-up of his name, albeit, it fits snugly into his rather short physical stature and dapperly striking young visage. His bodily stature was but not an impediment towards his ventures. He would forever and a day strives for excel, people of his peers were subdued by his wits and dexterity. His body and mind reflexes were equally imposing, to accomplish his mission he could lack a slumber for a week. Vigorous and nimble at his most, he was quite frigid toward idleness and inactivity. Had frequent splits of temper, although it always turned out to be a sane resentment. Regardless of his apathy and bleakness toward his humdrum and inactive compatriots, at the end of the day his kindness and caring was always genuine. Adventurous, committed, and curiousness was him. He was the rising tide that lifts the hopes, a facade of optimism for the suppressed, a panacea that cures the phobia, and a hindrance behind enemy failures and weaknesses. The persona dreaded and admired by the enemies, envied by the slanderers, and revered by the followers. He was what Che is to Cuban and Giap was to Vietnamese. He was young as the Joan of Arc whilst he pledged to defend his land and liberate his people from the foreign dominion. He is the world's youngest general. He is General KAITO SUKHEI. He is a Naga legendary. Born on the onset of summer May 22, 1933, at Gukwai village, then under Kohima, Ilaka, district, during British regime and present-time Zunhaboto district, Nagaland, he was the second son of Keito Sukhei head Dobashi Mbe Kohima division. 1923–1948, and mother Kiholi Yepthami. Keito had 5 sons and 3 daughters. Keito's first son and Kaito's eldest brother Kaito Sukhei was the Auto Kilansar, Prime Minister, Federal Government of Nagaland, 1959–1968, who also led the Nagas into 6 rounds of talk with Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi to deliberate on Naga issue, which ended in a dead heat. Kaito was born into an affluent Sumi Naga family of Zamomi clan. Some of his distinctive traits can be traced back to the semblance with his great-grandfather Sukhei Zamomi and his grand-uncle Kuhoi Sima Naga, both an outstanding warriors during their era. Precisely from his mother's womb, Kaito had an unusual demeanor unlike any other stillborn child, and his mother had a premonition that something was going to be different about this child. Hence Keito called upon a seer named Alemtam Gen Ao from Longsa village, who eventually foretold the parents that a son would born to them, wherein myriads of people would follow him. Without doubt the unseeming characteristics of an average child, just his contemporaries began to illustrate. Right from his crawling phase he showed his obstinacy and stubbornness outlook. He had an innate inclination for military life. His childhood was skewed fully towards military characteristics and leadership making. One thing was always coherent to him, that he was in no way alone. He would always keep a band of boys his age group between 10 to 12 years at his disposal, which he called them his children army. People would have assumed what he was doing was just a self-indulgent immature game, but maybe he really knew what he was doing and none could have guessed? That perhaps the future general was disciplining his compatriots for the very essence of our national sanguinity. During the Second World War the Allied forces had set up a camp at his village, therefore, at every given occasion he would hang around with Allied soldiers so that he could emulate and edify himself more of their activities to his already found passion. One fine day the commander of the camp asked him to fetch some water, and Kaito in turn ordered his boys to fetch water while he hung about with the commander. The boys without any hesitation brought the water pot and stood obediently akin to an army formation order. After a while the little boss ordered his boys to parade out of the camp. In another incident, the same commander, to check the competences of the kids, offered Kaito and his boys to test fire a rifle inside the trench. Everyone except Kaito was bold enough to accept the offer. The Allied forces who were watching the scene were stunned by the way he picked up the rifle with sharp reflexes and without uncertainty was about to fire, but then the commander prevented him from firing. the Allied forces remarked that the boy would one day grow up to be an excellent soldier. Which he proved them right in the near future by becoming the world's youngest general. The British leading tabloid BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, accredited him as the world's youngest general. In 1953 he went to Shillong for further studies, but his real intent was beyond studying. The child prodigy had already primed a blueprint inside his mind ahead of his decision to study at Shillong. After his influx at Shillong, under the pretext of studying, he was tirelessly organizing a network and sweeping Naga nationalistic ideology into the minds of Naga students Shillong, as well as Naga recruits Assam regiment to associate themselves into the realm of Naga nationalism. However, his undercover activities came into limelight and his stay at Shillong was cut short as the Indian intelligence personnel were after him, but at the end of the day it was a fruitful stay. He gained a huge momentum among the erudite during his short stay. He was able to persuade an adequate number of Naga students to join the Indian army so that they could come back to Nagaland and train the Naga youths to defend our homeland. The behaviors of his early days were ominous of the days to come, when he would bear out to be one of an ablest general of his time. General Kaito, yearning for an independent Naga, is analogous to an inflated balloon fixated for the skies. Despite of looming adversaries and irresistible odds, he would never cringe down an inch. A proven fact, that consistently for almost a decade he led the diminutive but no less spirited Naga army to resist and fight against the powerful military capacity in the form of Indian armed forces. Some of the important achievements and highlights of his life. 1. 1951, he started his active involvement into Naga struggle for independence. 2. May 16, 1951, at the age of 18 General Kaito Sukhei supervised the Naga plebiscite throughout the Sumi regions. 3. 1955, he formed Naga avant-garde army called Naga Safeguards, which was set up in the eastern Sumi area under Nifa. 4. 1955, March 23, from the land of free Nagas erstwhile Nifa, he declared an armed revolt against Indian army. 5. 1955, June 2, at the age of 22 he became the first general of Naga Safeguards. 6. 1955, 3rd to 10th September, in the historic First Indo-Naga battle at Hashapu, General Kaito Sukhei with a mere cluster of 16 Naga Safeguards army fought against a mammoth division of 17th Indian Rajputs coalesced with Indian Assam Rifles regiments. It was recorded that in the aftermath of the battle 5 Naga armies were martyred, while 380 Indian forces lost their lives. 7. 1956, March 2, the Naga National Council declared the Federal Government of Nagaland, FGN, and consequently FGN consolidated Naga Home Guards and Naga Safeguards to form the Naga Army, and thus, General Kaito Sukhei was appointed as the Commander-in-Chief Naga Army on March 22, 1956. He held the office till January 1963. 8. 1956, March 24, a significant second battle of Sataka was fought against the Assam Armed Police posted at Sataka village, Idapi Bungalow, whereby all the 78 belligerent Assam Armed Police were captured with a huge cache of weapons. 9. 1962, March 21, General Kaito Sukhei led 168 highly principled Naga soldiers to the 1st Elite Command, Foreign Legion, to East Pakistan for procuring arms and training. 10. 1962, September 10, he departed Karachi and left for London to meet NNC President Az Fizzo to discuss the future course of action for the Naga movement. He was invited by BBC to address about Naga struggle for independence at the Round Table Conference. 11. 1962, the Association of Allied British Veterans, under the organization of Burma Star Association London, fated him with the coveted title, Burma Star. 12. 1968, June 17, he formed an army government with General Mo Guizan. 13. 1968, August 3, a fanatic assassin who could not discern the magnitude of impact Kaito would have brought upon the fate of the Nagas, had he been alive. Shot him ruthlessly on that fateful evening. 14. 1968, 4th August, 11:30 a.m., at the prime age of 35 years and 74 days General Kaito Sukhei breathed his last. Alas! Came to an end of an era to one of the greatest son of Naga soil. The costliest material in the world is not worthy to obtain the immense price that had been paid in the form of valuable lives, blood, sweat and tears. Myriad of the past Naga freedom fighters had indisputably proven their affection and sacrifices in a fathomless measure for the cause of Naga homeland. The trails and suffering pursued along the process is unrivaled. The spine-chilling saga while procuring weapons and training up to fight against the overwhelming odds is consummate. Today, how trivially we tend to overlook the sacrifices and glory of our past, which meanwhile, is gradually eroding away. The accounts of their unmatched afflictions, life forfeits and display of flawless courage must be put into picture to enlighten the generations of today, hence they shall emulate and continue to carry the baton of key purposes envisaged by them. On this day, let us all reminisce every Naga patriots who had sacrificed their lives selflessly for the foundation of our beloved Nagalim. For more videos please do like and subscribe. Thank you.